All right, today I want to talk about when you have in your life a deteriorating situation where things seem to be getting worse and you don't like things the way they are and you don't like where things are going and you want to sort of right the course and bring things back to a place of stability and to take yourself to your where you want to be. And so specifically, like I recently had a cavity in my mouth, and my thoughts around this were that I wanted to take care of this before it became a bigger problem. But for whatever reason, I just couldn't align with that happening, and I just I don't always do what I maybe think I should do because I really want to feel in alignment with it. I really want to feel like I'm just sort of excited or inspired or it clicks. I don't want to push myself to have to do something. Um, and so there is the cavity was a problem to me. It was a problem because it was something other than what I was wanting to occur in my mouth. And so often we look at a problem, especially something like a cavity, and we think what we want is to alleviate that problem and to return us back to our place of well being. So, didn't have a cavity, had a cavity, got the cavity fixed, boom, back to the place of well being. But the thing that sort of equation doesn't or overlooks is that a problem doesn't come about simply so that we can eliminate the problem and go back to where we were. A problem comes about to help launch us into something even better. And so I knew somewhere along the lines that there was something more relative to this situation that I was wanting, but I couldn't seem to connect with it. I didn't, and uh, and so I just sort of let the situation go and let the situation and I'm sure over time like there was some minor increase in deterioration relative to my tooth with the cavity in it. And so but at the same time, you know, I wanted to get it fixed, but I wasn't finding alignment with it, and I wasn't going to push myself, and so it was this sort of a stalemate, and I was wanting and wanting and wanting to right this situation, and I was also in the back of my mind, I have this theory that there's the problem is more than a problem. So I wanted that more that was coming out of it, and I searched for that more, and I searched for that more, and finally I I had a few breakthroughs on it. Like I recognized that the dentist that I went and got a checkup with originally, I felt like the prices were very expensive. There were a lot of like it was some kind of it was a swanky dentist office, and it was like somewhere in the back of my mind I'm like somebody's subsidizing all this expensive equipment. And my guess is it's the patients, the clientele that actually goes through there, and so maybe things were priced more than I needed because I didn't need to have ESPN on when I'm getting dental work done or something. But some I thought the prices were a little expensive. I didn't like sort of the sales technique that occurred after I got the checkup, and they sort of just quoted me a price for all the work, didn't explain the individual things, and then just went immediately to talking about how can we get you to afford this. Well, here you can get this loan from Chase, and you can make these payments, and you'll pay it off in 4 years, and da 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 da, and at X interest, and it was, and so I just sort of like clammed up and just didn't say anything and walked out of there, and then figured I would go through things on my own and then get back to them. But then when I opened up the little folder they gave me, I didn't have a price list for anything, and so I was kind of flying in the dark. So and I was thinking like I didn't really like the way that was interacting, but I also didn't like the way that I was sort of. I kind of went in with this attitude of like, the lower the price, the better. And so anything less than the lowest possible price is inoptimal. And it was this mindset that's sort of like I win when I get a really low price. And if I don't get a really low price, then by that logic, I'd lose. And so it kind of pitted me against against this dentist and against this. And it was really kind of a win-lose situation, where, and I didn't really like that idea of, uh, it didn't seem completely, it didn't feel completely on to me. And at one point, um, and so recently, I just sort of thinking about that situation, I came to sort of a breakthrough where I recognized that, if I can appreciate something in others, so if I can appreciate the fact that this dentist has a thriving practice, and I can look at it from that perspective, I can look at it that perspective that I'm helping him continue his thriving practice, then it became less of a win-lose situation. It became a, I win by getting good dental work done, and he wins by continuing to have a thriving practice. And with that sort of focus, the price point is no longer so important. It's because the more that I pay, the more he thrives. And the reason he charges what he charges is because he provides a really good service. And so by my willingness to pay for that really good service, I receive the benefits of that really good service. And it became this sort of win-win focus. And I really liked that shift. And not long after that shift, I was able to, I called and I got a free checkup just from calling because I wanted to get this thing done. And so I went in there, and so my thoughts around this tooth was like, I gotta get this fixed before things get worse, because it's like my back wisdom tooth and the two molars that are right next to it, they had already like been extracted because of a deterioration from like when I was way younger and I really didn't take care of my mouth at all. And so this is kind of like my last guy in there, and it was like, in order for me to chew on that side, I sort of need a lower molar, and so I got to take care of this guy, and and it was sort of this desperation sort of vibration of, I need to take care of this molar. I have not taken care of it. I can't align with taking care of it, and so it's just getting worse. And teeth don't regenerate, so it's not a it's there's no real upside here. And so when I felt that pain there, I not only felt the pain of the cavity, I felt the pain of that being an indicator that things are getting worse, not better. And things are getting worse, not better, does not feel good. And so it was more than just a physical pain. It was like there was that sort of mental, emotional pain associated with it, because I was seeing this as me sort of, as the situation deteriorating, and this is like my last stand. This is like the last guy I got down there. And so, and when I went in there, what the dentist ended up seeing was that there was indeed a cavity, but the because it's a wisdom tooth, it came in like at a this angle, and so the tooth above it is coming down at like this, and the tooth is designed to go like this, and it's really coming like this. So that usually results in pain and loosening, and that the wisdom tooth, this thing that I was thinking I had to salvage, was actually gonna need to come out. And so so I was like fretting over the well-being of something which was actually just a temporary solution for me. It was a temporary situation. My reliance on this wisdom tooth is actually a temporary situation for me, because and then through the conversation, I can get the wisdom tooth removed, and then you can put in an implant, and it's like having a whole new fresh tooth that's actually, really strong. And it was way better than what I thought, because I thought it was like, all right, I just gotta, my thoughts relative to my teeth situation was like, all right, I just gotta salvage what I got left. Didn't really take care of my teeth when I was younger, but I take care of them now, and I just salvage what I can, and then, yeah. But this has opened up a whole new opportunity. It's like, now I don't I don't need to salvage so much. I can actually rebuild, and I actually can build it better than before and have it be something stronger and healthier and less prone to damages because it's made out of, porcelain or whatever materials. So that was a really cool thing. And then so just thinking about that, I was sort of fretting about the health and well-being of this tooth, and now I'm able to start seeing it as like, oh, it's not. I don't need this tooth to have a certain outcome for me to be okay with the situation. And so now it's something else. It's like it's still a vibrational indicator of a problem, but it's like, is it really a problem anymore? I'm not reliant on it, and it's still indicating my relationship with some sort of desire. And so it's like, to me, it's like the pain doesn't even really need to be there anymore, because the pain is primarily there because I'm resisting the situation that's going on there. There's obviously some physiological causes for why there might be pain, but in my experience, pain is something that you can largely diffuse through focus, um, if you can sort of frame it in a way where it's kind of okay. Like if I don't know, if you're getting a snake bite or something, and it's not gonna cause any damage, and you can sort of get yourself in a place where it doesn't hurt so much, and you can actually see it as like your ability to handle the pain is actually an indicator of your invincibility or your wellness, or some kind of indicator of your toughness. So so I took this same sort of thing, the way I was thinking about this tooth, and I applied it then to my entire life. Like, how am I looking at my life and my health and my situation? Am I looking at it as something that sort of needs to that I cannot tolerate any further deterioration? That I need to make sure that nothing bad happens, because this is my one life. There's no once I die, this lifetime will be over. And so uh, and so am I looking that in the same way, like I can't allow bad things to happen to it, because now with this tooth, which I still have in there, because I just went in for a checkup. uh, it's there, but I'm no longer concerned about the health of this tooth, because it's no longer it just is in the state that it is, and it's not necessary that I salvage it, because I can rebuild what I want in this area. And that was like so big in thinking, like, sometimes we have a situation or a relationship or something, and we just want to salvage it, or we don't want to lose it, and we think we have to make sure we hold on. And what if we can just let go of it, and focus on rebuilding the situation that we want to live? And looking at that, it's almost like this tooth can go to complete shit, and it doesn't really matter, because it's only going to be in my mouth temporarily, and whenever I want, I can give the okay, and it can get pulled out of there. And and how similar is that to any area of anyone's life, that it can go to complete shit, and that's okay, because we still have the ability to create something totally different from what used to be there in its stead. And and it, and, it, and it's almost like this idea of, this is the more I was talking about, like, the tooth problem was so much more than a tooth problem. It's like this physical, tangible teaching tool almost, or just I if I can follow this tooth and the pain of this tooth and the story of this tooth to something that is highly desired, to some highly desired conclusions that will serve me in many more ways than if I never had than simply correcting a tooth problem or never having a tooth problem. And and I'm just playing with this idea of like, do I really want to try and organize my life in such a way where I sort of fix problems or I don't attract problems, or can I see each component of my life the same way I see this wisdom tooth, as it thrive for a long time, and I used it for a long time, and I can continue using it for however long, and but when its course runs out, I can let go of it and I can build something else in its stead that actually fits me a whole lot better. And so I can appreciate it while it's here. And when a problem develops, I can see that problem as an opportunity to get more. To get more not just in my mouth, not just in the area it directly affects, but to get more in understanding from that situation so much more about myself, about my life, about the way things work, about that that there's no that there's that you can just let things go and let a problem take its course, and you don't have to hold on to that problem and be dragged down by it, because out of the ashes of that problem, or out of the clarity that's born from it, or out of the desire that is born for it, you can rebuild what it is you're wanting. And that is just one instance of how a problem is never just a problem. It's always a problem with a direct relationship to a solution that will lead you in a place that's better off than you were before you had the problem.